A little bit later than expected, perhaps. We're a couple of minutes behind time. I do apologise. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Live Irish Myths. I'm Anthony Murphy of Mythical Ireland. Today, we are on episode 127 of Live Irish Myths. We're continuing this evening with the story from the Fianna cycle of the Cath Finntrágha, or the Battle of the White Strand, which we started last week. Hope you're all in good form. Hope everybody's keeping safe and well. Welcome along anyway, no matter where you are in the world. Take a seat in the virtual library around the fire with a cup of tea or something stronger in your hand, and enjoy yourself and enjoy the company. On YouTube this evening, Archaeoastronomy Database commented at 6:06 p.m, which is nearly 2 hours ago. You're very welcome. I hope you haven't been waiting all that time. Daisy Peters at 7:12 p.m. We arrived early, Archaeoastronomy Database. Wonderful to see you here. Wonderful. Fáilte, Anthony and all continuing our fascinating episode of drinking some beers and lots of coconut water to withstand this heat in Rio de Janeiro. Send a little bit of over here. Daisy, it's cold in the Boyne Valley right now. Mandy McCurl says, wishing everyone a good St. Andrew's Day. Sarah Alba. Robert the Bruce reference. Hello, Mandy. And yes, indeed, happy St. Andrew's Day to you and all our friends across the water. Hope you're all keeping well. Cool if it's hot and warm if it's cold. It's very apt, isn't it? Given the international audience. Evening all says Pagan Tree. Hello, there you are. Mes Marion says story time. Thanks, Anthony. Hello, lovelies. A wonderful, blessed day for you all from beautiful sunny Alameda in California. Good evening to you. Good afternoon. Good morning. No, it's just noon there now, isn't it? Good midday to you. Who else have we got on YouTube? The Full Irish GK Trnonawa. Great and good Tua from Tallaght. Muncha Parthalone, Tala in Dublin. Jackie Stevenson says, hello, Anthony and the lovely Tua. Ready for part two. John Main says, Bannathina Tua Galair from Baltimore. Good to be here. Of course, that's Baltimore in County Cork, not Baltimore on the eastern seaboard of the United States. It is near the sea, isn't it? Baltimore, isn't it? Archaeoastronomy Database says, thank you for all the to all the people here. Thank you all for what you do and everything you are. Good stuff. Josie Weatherford says, hi everyone, it's lovely to be here tonight and see everyone so energized and ready for the story. Hi Mandy, hi Archaeoastronomy Database, hi Daisy. Hello Josie, good evening to you. Oh, genie mackers. Okay, you're all talking to each other, which is brilliant. Polar Bear says, greetings and salutations from New Mexico. Stephen Walker says, hello everyone from plunging temperatures in Atlanta. Winter is here. Yes, it's here in a number of places. Anyway, enjoy the snowballs. Helen Hirsch Chatter says, greetings to all from South Dakota. Hello, Helen. You're very welcome from South Dakota. The Curious Celt is saying, hi everyone. Really looking forward to part two. Loved it last week. Brilliant. Glad you enjoyed it. Susan Morrish says, good evening from London. Hello, Susan. Fáilte. And on Facebook, Henry Paddy Shearman is the first of tonight's commenters. Hello, Henry. Good to see you. Bernadette McCafferty says, hello from Donegal. Happy full moon. Yes, indeed. I forgot to mention the full moon. Judy McQueen says hello. Hello, Judy. Patricia McAteer is in the house in the north of County Louth. Hello, Patricia. Brendan Byrne says, good evening, one and all. Julie King says hello to all the Tua. Susan Bisaccia says, I do apologise. Not that long since my dinner. I do apologise. Susan Bisaccia, I presume, is in Plainville in Connecticut in the USA. Hi, Anthony. Hope all is well. All good here, Susan. Stacey Herman Lawrence says, hi, Anthony. A rainy, cold Ohio, USA here. Sounds just like Ireland. Mike and Jeanette Naylor are in New Jersey. Good afternoon, Anthony and the tribe. Guinness for me today. Oh, you lucky sod. Pass it round. No, better off not doing that in the middle of a pandemic. Maybe we'll get an opportunity again. Joe Butler is in the house, says, good to see you and be with the Tua. Feelings mutual, Joe. Welcome along. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter says, hello, Anthony. Hello from deep in the heart of Texas. Hello to you, Elaine. If one of the Tua would like to share the video on the Mythical Ireland community, that would be great. I know some of you have been very obliging lately. Mariana Dunn says, greetings and blessings to the tour from Alexandria in Virginia. Hello, Mariana. Janet Moran says, Sláinte from windy and rainy Boston. I reckon that's why the Irish felt so at home in Boston, because it was just like Ireland weather-wise half the time. Jackie says, hello, I'm back. I missed live last week due to work commitments, but enjoyed it thoroughly on catch-up. Well, welcome back, Jackie. Good to have you here. And I should say, Desiree Riley, who is here almost every time, is unable to watch this evening due to other commitments. But I said I'd give her a shout out, so when she's watching on the playback, she'll get her chance. Just between us, her name is Desiree, but I've been mispronouncing it, and apparently that's okay. Nick Eska Casterton is in the house, says, good evening, Anthony, and wonderful to we've been isolating after testing positive for COVID. I felt a little off colour for 24 hours, but feeling much better now. Nick, the important thing is stay safe and stay well, and good to hear that you're feeling better. Really, really happy to hear that. Doris O'Hara says, hi, Anthony, and everyone. Hello, Doris. And by the way, Nick, good on you for isolating. Absolutely. Don't do anything foolish. Adina Spark says, good afternoon, Anthony, and all. Hope everyone is well. All in good form, Adina. Catherine Cooney, rainy and cold here in CNY. Oh, I'm totally lost. I know what it means. It's something New York. Not coastal, not... It's not this. Put me out of my misery, please. But welcome along. Aaron Durrett says, more battles from ancient times and peace to the Tuatha. Absolutely. Here. Aaron. Kristen Murray Andre says, look at me, the day off from remote learning. So glad to join the Tuatha once again from Chicago. From remote learning to remote entertainment. Julie King says, hi, Anthony, I'm teaching culture na Héireann to my transition year students, and they're really into Mythflix. Brilliant. Delighted to hear it. Well, sure, if we can inspire a new generation to get interested in our mythology. I was reading C.G. Young again, and he said another thing about mythology, which I think you'll find very interesting. Here I am getting distracted already. And this is from Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. If I can find it now. Oh, can I find it now? Can I quickly find it? And if the answer is no, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. No, you see, I've distracted myself. You know, I really have. Oh, I have to find it, but maybe not. But maybe not now. But maybe afterwards, I'll get to find it. It was a comment which basically related to mythology, as I've regularly said. Being a form of history. Catherine Woodruff says, hello all. Hello, Catherine. Tom King is in the house. Hello, Anthony and the Mighty Tuatha. Another week rolls by. Dram topped up, fire stoked, and it's story time. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I have to adjust the pesky YouTube camera. Not that it's pesky, it's me that's pesky because I just didn't set it up right at the beginning. Now I can lean back and sort of feel comfortable. Good to see you, Tom. Fire stoked, and it's story time. Brilliant stuff. Wendy Holmes is in upstate New York. Hello, Wendy. Doris O'Hara is saying hello to Nick. And Brendan Byrne is in the house. It's Elf on the Shelf, not Santa on the bookshelf. You like me, Santa, do you? Hello, Santa. He's guarding the History of Ireland series. Donna Fire says, greetings from Maryland. I've been loving the full moon and looking forward to part 2. Brilliant stuff. Mark Gordon says, good day from a sunny but no snow yet Iowa. Good afternoon to you, Mark. Welcome along. Saoirse Ní Cheandal says, greetings to Anthony and the Mighty Tuatha. Can you see the moon at the moment, Saoirse? I couldn't see it before we started. Looking forward to the Battle of the Five Armies, or at least the White Strand Part 2. Debbie Daly is in sunny, chilly California. Hey, look, at least you have half of it right. The sun. Movanwe Millward says, Giariv Anthony and the Tuatha. I forgot it was Monday last week, but I'm back tonight. Did anyone else see the full moon eclipse? I didn't manage to, but the moon was beautiful. Yeah, there's a penumbral eclipse tonight where there's a very slight dimming of the moon. Between one thing and another, I haven't had a chance. Anne Hurley, he says, hello to all the beautiful people. Hello to you, Anne. Valerie Gallagher is in a windy and blustery little Rhode Island. Good day for a story. Absolutely. It's always a good day for a story, isn't it? Ralph Waldron says, good evening to the Tuatha. Hello, Ralph. Yvette Tillema is in the house. Been waiting all day. Stormy weather in Keene, New York. Steve Martinson says, greetings, Anthony, and the worldwide Mythflix family. May you all be safe and well in health and spirit from Monona, Wisconsin. Hello, Steve. Welcome along. Great to see you. Neil Hughes, Thrononawa from Coatbridge, Scotland on this St. Andrew's Day. Mary and Neil already with the traditional Tay August Fian at the ready. Fian Jarrag, isn't that it? Yeah, sure. Look what arrived. Look what arrived today. Postman left a very nice surprise for me today. Well, that's a bottle of red, but it's also a bottle of white. And a couple of tins of biscuits and a few other bits and pieces. Very nice early Christmas present. Tia Marie Grady Massey says, hello from Dallas, Texas. Cold and sunny here. Again, same thing as the Californians. You have the sunny, so you look on the bright side, you know. Margaret McKenna says, hello, everyone, on this lovely moonlit night in Cavan. Good evening to you, Margaret. Been enjoying some of your posts lately, enjoying your artwork. Catherine Cooney explains that CNY is Central New York. I do apologize. Thank you for that, Catherine. Barb Jordan is saying hello to everyone. Mariana is missing Desiree. Laura Odomatroy says, hello, Anthony, from Blessington. Finally, I could join. Brilliant. Good to see you back, Laura. Welcome along. Make yourself comfortable. Anne Hurley says, is it Central New York? Yes, indeed. Leaf litter, squirrel, ball, distractions, tangents, says Saoirse. Yes, indeed. Michael D. Porter. Donna Jean Porter can't say hello today as she's having 2 medical procedures right now. So hello for Donna Jean. Yes, let's all say hello to Donna Jean and also to wish her all the best for her medical procedures. Hopefully nothing too serious. Hopefully she'll be able to watch the catch up soon enough. But hello and best wishes to you, Donna Jean. We're all thinking of you right now. Julie King is in the house and is claiming Tom as a distant cousin. All the kings. All royalty. Jacinta Paisley says, hi, everyone. Hope all are well and safe. Hello, Jacinta Falcha. Good evening to you. Nuala Doyle says, good evening, Anthony. Hello, Nuala Falcha. Neil Hughes says, Fian Jarrag for me. Lovely. Yes, I'm in 2 minds as to which one to crack open. Charlene McLean Cosby says, good evening, all. Hello, Charlene. Kimberly Field Sipola. Hello, friends, far and wide. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome along. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter says, it was warmer in Ireland than it was in Texas this morning. Actually, I believe that. For all the grumbling we do, we actually have mild winters, comparatively mild. Donacha O'Dore says, happy Monday evening, Anthony and Luna. Fáilte Donacha. Nolene Neelan says, Banachty O'Bray. Happy full moon. Hello to all our friends in Wicklow. Burr Whelan says, hi, Anthony, and hi, everyone. Hello, Burr. Michelle Rhodes is in foggy grey Sheffield, like a Victorian horror. Lol. Sounds very Irish, actually. But hello, Michelle. Good evening to you. Mary Kay McKenna says, good evening to you, and good evening to you also. And let me just check if I'm up to date on YouTube. Sandy McNabb says, good evening, Mr. Murphy, and all, sir, and all fellow stoners. Damn that beaver moon being obscured by clouds, not Floyd's pink. Yeah. I know, these one-off astronomical events in Ireland always obscured by cloud. Christy Goodlett says, our last day of spring yesterday got to 42 Celsius. Happy first day of summer. I presume you're down under somewhere, Christy, but that sounds lovely. 42, wow. Susan Morrish, we said hello to. Helen, we said hello to. Good. Sure, we're up to date. So just the usual few announcements, and then we'll be on our way towards part 2 of the story. I took a list today because I said just get through them really quickly. Now, the first one is to say thanks to Natalia Kolegova on pixabay.com, where I got the lovely image of the waves crashing in on the sea. I thought that was a nice image, evocative of a battle that was to take place on a strand. For the patrons of Mythical Ireland over on patreon.com/Mythical Ireland, there's been quite a bit of activity over the last number of days. There's loads of stuff on there which is not yet available for non-patrons. There's a new video which I'm sorry to have to boast, which I think is one of the nicest ones that I've made so far. The imagery and the music just go together very well. There's a series of 3 images that have been sent over today of Newgrange. Just making sure I'm on the right page. I want to paste in the link to the Patreon page as a comment. So I'm just doing that and becoming a little bit distracted as I do. However, one of the things that has been available for patrons for the past week, but will become available tomorrow to everybody, is podcast 12. Mythical Ireland podcast 12 will be premiered tomorrow evening on the YouTube channel at 7 p.m. Irish time. If you're subscribed to the channel, you should have got a notification. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. So that's 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So an hour before whatever time it is, say you're in California and it's midday, this is 8 p.m. Irish time. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Californian time. If it's 3 p.m. in New York, well, it'll be 2 p.m. instead. Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m., podcast 12. And for the first time, I will reveal that the podcast is titled, Was Douth a Crematorium? Exploring a very intriguing mystery about a structure at Douth, of which I will say absolutely no more because I don't want you to miss the premiere. So set your clocks for 7 o'clock tomorrow evening for podcast 12. I think it's about 20 minutes. I think it's about 20 minutes long. Maybe a bit shorter than that, but it's no more than 20 minutes. Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, you're still in plenty of time to order your 2021 Mythical Ireland calendar, and I ship worldwide. There has been a very slight slowdown in delivery times in the past week because the postal systems of the world are getting busier with Christmas. All the more reason why you should order it now rather than leave it. So that's the link there to the calendar. I still have calendars in stock despite the fact there's been lots of orders. So don't forget to put yours in. And also, don't forget also that I still have copies of the 2020 edition of Island of the Setting Sun. Been getting some lovely feedback on that this past week or so from readers who have been introduced to it for the first time, who hadn't read it in its early iterations when it was first published in 2006 and republished in 2008. So lots there for you to think about. I should share a link as to where you can purchase the book as well, shouldn't I? Just to get it out of the way. And there we go. Santa looks exhausted from reading all those books, says Anne Hurley. Yeah. Larissa Kama says, greetings from Portland, Oregon. Sorry I've missed so many Mondays, but I'm in and out of the hospital and sick most of this month with a life-threatening ear infection. Blessings to all the wonderful Tuatha. I've certainly missed everyone. Well, Larissa, we have somebody else watching, Nick, who had contracted COVID and is isolating but is feeling better. We wish you all the very best for a speedy recovery and hopefully the life-threatening aspect of it has gone away. Good to see you back among us, and I'm sure everybody will make you feel welcome as they always do. Sandra Boothroyd says she loves the Santa and says hello and good evening. Elena Johnson says hello, and hello to you, Fáilte, Sláinte. Nina Buckles says, happy to be here and best wishes to all. Looking forward to some wonderful storytelling and myths from Anthony. Here's a link to some basic information on St. Andrew's Day, maybe for those who may be interested. And that's a Wikipedia link. Thank you for that, Nina. Did I miss anyone? No, I think we're up to speed. Okay. Paula Snow Queen can't stay. We'll catch up later. Paula, I bid you adieu for the moment. Saoirse says Santa's exhausted from delivering all those book orders. Native birds, says Brendan. Instead, we did native trees. Very good. Good suggestion. Yes, indeed. Birds. The 3 images of Newgrange on Patreon made me gasp. Awesome, says Yvette. What is the crater? The crater is a quarry. Yeah, people sort of were a bit reckless about these things in the past. They would quarry looking for stone and not think twice about, damaging the landscape and the monuments, etc., etc. So, well, what time are we on? Let's call it 1940. Brilliant. So, we are back to the Finn cycle. This is the bit, you know, those first 15 minutes, that's the bit where if you're not saying hello, you're kind of going off to boil the kettle and just saying, right, sure, look, by the time I get back with a cup of tea in hand, he'll have started the actual story, you know. The Battle of the White Strand. So last week we started the story from the beginning. Now, I've got markers in several places, which is really stupid of me. That is just really clever, Anthony. I've got markers in several places, so now I don't know where we stopped. So we did Yvette. Here's time to help me here. Chapter 7. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you so much. Oh, that's the other marker. Yes, okay. Sorry about that, folks. A little bit embarrassing there. Perhaps I should do a little bit more preparation in the future instead of just assuming everything will be fine. So chapter 7 is called The First Fighters. And in the morning they saw Finn and all his people coming to the rath that is above the harbour. My father Finn, said Oisin then, let us fight now with the whole of the foreigners together. That is not my advice, said Finn, for the number of their armies is too great for us, and we could not stand against them. But we will send out every day, he said, some son of a king or of a leader against some king of the kings of the world that is equal in blood to ourselves. And let none of you redden your arms, he said, but against a king or a chief man at first. For when a king is fallen, his people will be more inclined to give way. And who will give out a challenge of battle from me now, he said. I will do that, said the son of Cobban, leader of the Fianna of Munster. Do not go, my son, said Fianna, for it is not showed to me that you will have good luck in the battle. And I never sent out any man to fight without I knew he would come back safe to me. And this is the way it's translated by Lady Gregory, you know, to be spoken in the way English is often spoken by Irish people, which is not entirely the correct way to speak English, but that's the way we say it anyway. Do not say that, said Cobban's son, for I would not for the treasure of the whole world go back from a fight on account of a bad foretelling. And as it is my own country they have done their robbery in first, he said, I will defend it for you. It is sorrowful I am for that, said Finn, for whichever of the kings of the world will meet you today, yourself and himself will fall together. Then Glas, son of Dremin, gave out a challenge of fight from Cobban's son, and the king of Greece answered it. And the two fought hand to hand, and the king of Greece made a great cast of his thick spear at Cobban's son, that went through his body and broke his back in two. But he did not take that blow as a gift, but he paid for it with a strong cast of his own golden spear that went through the ringed armour of the king of Greece. And those two fell together, soul to soul, and lip to lip, S-O-L-E to soul, S-O-L-E to S-O-L-E. There is grief on me, Cobban's son, to have fallen, said Finn, for no one ever went from his house unsatisfied, and a man that I would not keep, or the High King of Ireland would not keep for a week. He would keep him in his house through the length of a year. And let Fulamain, his son, be called to me now, he said, and I will give him his father's name and place. They stopped there then till the next morning. Who will go and fight today? Said Finn then. I will do that, said Golgarov, son of the king of Alban, and the daughter of Gull, son of Morna. That's Gull MacMorna. So he put on his battle dress, and there came against him the three kings from the rising of the sun in the east and their 3 battalions with them. And Golgotov rushed among their men, and wounded and maimed and destroyed them, and blinded their eyes forever, so that their wits went from them, and they called to him to stop his deadly sword for a while. So he did that, and it is what they agreed, to take their 3 kings and to give them over to Golgotov, that he might stop doing destruction with his sword. Who will go out and fight today? Said Finn on the morning of the morrow. I will go, said Oisin, and the chief men of the sons of Bashkina with me, for we get the best share of all the pleasant things of Ireland, and we should be the first to defend her. I will answer that. I was going to do a French accent. Never mind. I will answer that challenge, said the King of France. For it is against Finn I am come to Ireland, on account of my wife that he brought away from me. What a scallywag. And these men will fall by me now, he said, and Finn himself at the last. For when the branches of a tree are cut off, it is not hard to cut down the tree itself. So the King of France and Oisin met one another at, one could call it a rendezvous. Never mind. At the eastern, stop that, Anthony. Stop being ridiculous. At the eastern end of the Strand, and they struck their banners of soft silk into the green hill, and bared their swords, and made a quick attack on one another. And at one time the king struck such a great blow that he knocked a groan out of Oisin. But for all that, he was worsted in the end, and great fear came on him, like the fear of 100 horses at the sound of thunder. And he ran from Oisin. And he rose like a swallow, that his feet never touched the earth at all. And he never stopped till he came to Glan-Nungialt, the valley of the wild men. And ever since that time, people that have lost their wits make for that valley, and every mad person in Ireland. If he had his way, and every mad person in Ireland, if he had his way, would go there within 24 hours. Fascinating stuff. Glan-Nungialt. And there rose great cries of lamentation from the armies of the world when they saw him going from them, and the Fianna of Ireland raising great shouts of joy. And when the night was coming on, it is what Finn said. It is sad and gloomy the king of the world is tonight, and it is likely he will make an attack on us. And which of you will keep watch over the harbour through the night? He said. Kimberly Halligan is in the house. Very good to see you, Kimberly. Welcome along. I will, said Oisin, with the same number that was fighting along with me today, for it is not too much for you to fight for the Fianna of Ireland through a day and a night, he said. So they went down to the harbour, and it was just at that time the King of the World was saying, It seems to me, men of the world, that our luck of battle was not good today. And let a share of you rise up now, he said, and make an attack on the Fianna of Ireland. Then there rose up the 9 sons of Godov, king of the Sea of Icht, that were smiths. There you go, Tom. And 1,600 of their people along with them. And they all went on shore, but Dullar Dorva, that was the eldest. They all went on shore, but Dullar Dorva, that was the eldest of them. And the sons of Bashkina were ready for them, and they fought a great battle to the early light of tomorrow. And not one of them was left alive on either side that could hold a weapon, but only Oisin and one of the sons of Godov. And they made rushes at one another, and threw their swords out of their hands, and closed their arms about one another, and wrestled together, so that it was worth coming from the east to the west of the world to see the fight of those two. This is perhaps early medieval MMA we're thinking of here. Then the foreigner, except for, the MMA guys think they're hard. I'll tell you, you want to you'd meet your match in one of the Fianna. Then the foreigner gave a sudden great fall to Oisin to bring him into the sea, for he was a great swimmer, and he thought to get the better of him there. And Oisin thought it would not be worthy of him to refuse any man his place of fighting. So they went into the water together, and they were trying to drown one another till they came to the sand and the gravel of the clear sea. And it was a torment to the heart of the Fianna, Oisin, to be in that strait. "Rise up, Fergus of the sweet lips," said Finn then, "and go praise my son and encourage him." What else would somebody do, called sweet lips, than to sing a panegyric, So Fergus went down to the edge of the sea, and he said, "It is a good fight you are making, Oisin, and there are many to see it. For the armies of the whole world are looking at you and the Fianna of Ireland." Marianne Dunn Kinja is in the house. Hello, Marianne. "And show now," he said, "your ways and your greatness. For you never went into any place but some woman of high beauty, or some king's daughter set her love on you." Then Oisin's courage increased, and anger came on him, and he linked his hands behind the back of the foreigner and put him down on the sand under the sea with his face upwards, and did not let him rise till the life was gone from him. And he brought the body to shore then, and struck off his head and brought it to the Fianna. Nasty stuff. But there was a great grief and anger on Dullar Dorva, the eldest of the sons of Garov, that had stopped in the ship, and he made a great oath that he would have satisfaction for his brothers. And he went to the High King, and he said, "I will go alone to the Strand, and I will kill 100 men every day till I have made an end of the whole of the armies of Ireland. And if any one of your own men comes to interfere with me," he said, "I will kill him along with them." No messing there. Better let him do what he wants to do. No standing in his way. The next morning, Finn asked who would lead the battle that day. "I will," said Dovon, son of Dunn. "Do not," said Finn, "but let some other one go." But Dovon went to the Strand, and 100 men along with him. And there was no one there before him but Dullar Dorva. And he said he was there to fight with the whole of them. And Dovon's men gave a great shout of laughter when they heard that. But Dullar Dorva rushed on them, and he made an end of the whole 100, without a man of them being able to put a scratch on him. And then he took a hurling stick and a ball, and he threw up the ball and kept it in the air with the hurl, from the west to the east of Ireland. Sorry, that's not what it says. Anthony, just relax. And kept it in the air with the hurl, from the east to the west of the Strand. Sorry, from the west to the east of the Strand, without letting it touch the ground at all. Sounds a little bit like Cuchulainn, who, as a boy, Setanta, was able to perform great feats with the Cumann and the Schlitter. Lexi Erickson is here with us as well. Hello, Lexi. Fáilte. And then he put the ball on his right foot and kicked it high into the air. And when it was coming down, he gave it a kick of his left foot and kept it in the air like that. And like a blast of March wind. And he rushing like a blast of March wind from one end of the Strand to the other. Sounds like he's got some skills with the ball. And when he had done that, he walked up and down on the Strand, making great boasts and challenging the men of Ireland to do the like of those feats. And every day he killed 100 of the men that were sent against him. And there concludes chapter 7. And we're on to chapter 8. Who Knows Who is on YouTube, says, "Hi, Anthony. Hi. Hope you're keeping well." Hello, Who Knows Who I don't know who you are. Mysterious person with a very interesting name. Hello. Sean Harding says, "Hiya, late again. Not to worry. It's great to have you along." Sharon Holt is in the house. Hello, Sharon. This one is called The King of Ulster's Son. Now, it chanced at that time that news of the great battle that was going on reached to the court of the King of Ulster. And the king's son, that was only 12 years of age, and that was the comeliest of all the young men of Ireland, said to his father, Let me go to help Finn, son of Cool, and his men. He didn't see that. You are not old enough or strong enough, boy. Your bones are too soft, said the king. And when the boy went on asking, his father shut him up in some close place and put 12 young men, his foster brothers, in charge of him. There was great anger on the young lad then, and he said to his foster brothers, It is through courage and daring my father won a great name for himself in his young youth. And why does he keep me from winning a name for myself? And let you help me now, he said, and I will be a friend to you forever. And he went to talking to them and persuading them till he got round them all. And they agreed to go with him to join Finn and the Fianna. And when the king was asleep, they went into the house where their arms were kept. And every lad of them brought away with him a shield and a sword and a helmet and 2 spears and 2 greyhound whelps. And they went across Esroa in the north, and through Connacht of the many tribes, and through Collia na Chosanma, the woods of defence, that were called the choice of every king and the true honour of every poet, and into Kerry, and on to the White Strand. And when they came there, Dullar Dorva was on the strand, boasting before the men of Ireland. And Oisin was rising up to go against him. For he said he would sooner die fighting with him than see the destruction he was doing every day on his people. And all the wise men, and the fighting men, and the poets, and the musicians of the Fianna gave a great cry of sorrow when they heard Oisin saying that. Interesting that they separate wise men from fighting men. And the king of Ulster's son went to Finn and stood before him and saluted him. And Finn asked who was he, and where did he come from? I am the son of the king of Ulster, he said, and I am come here, myself and my 12 foster brothers, to give you what help we can. I'll give you a welcome, said Finn. Just then they heard the voice of Dullar Dorva, very loud and boastful. Who is that I hear? Said the king's son. It is a man of the foreigners asking for 100 of my men to go and meet him, said Finn. Now, when the 12 foster brothers heard that, they said no word but went down to the strand, unknown to the king's son and to Finn. You are not a grown man, said Conan, and neither yourself or your comrades are fit to face any fighting man at all. I never saw the Fianna of Ireland till this day, said the young lad, but I know well that you are Conan Moyle, that never says a good word of any man. And you will see now, he said, if I am in dread of that man on the strand, or if of any man in the world. For I will go out against him by myself. Brave. Kathy May Deo's joined us and is in the house. I hope everyone had a wonderful, safe weekend and Thanksgiving to Rush in the States. Yes, I hope everybody to Tuatha in the States. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to all our friends on the other side of the big pond. But Finn kept him back and was talking with him, but then Conan began again, and he said, It is many men Dullar Dorva has made an end of, and there was not a man of all those that could have killed 100 of the like of you every day. When the king's son heard that, there was a great anger on him, and he leaped up, and just then Dullar Dorva gave a great shout on the strand. What is he giving that great shout for? Said the king's son. He is shouting for more men to come against him, said Conan, for he is just after killing your 12 comrades. That is a sorrowful story, said the king's son. And with that he took hold of his arms, and no one could hold him or hinder him, and he rushed down to the strand where Dullar Dorva was. And all the armies of the strangers gave a great shout of laughter, for they thought all Finn's men had been made an end of, and when he sent a young lad like that against their best champion. And when the boy heard that, his courage grew the greater, and he fell on Dullar Dorva and gave him many wounds before he knew he was attacked at all. And they fought a very hard fight together. till their shields and their swords were broken in pieces. Excuse me. And that did not stop the battle. But they grappled together and fought and wrestled that way, till the tide went over them and drowned them both. And when the sea went over them, the armies on each side gave out a great sorrowful cry. And after the ebb tide on the morrow, the two bodies were found cold and quiet, each one held fast by the other. But Dullar Durva was beneath the king's son, so they knew it was the young lad was the best and had got the victory. And they buried him and put a flagstone over his grave and keened him there. And that is chapter 8. And we move on to chapter 9. Some of these are short chapters. Oh, you'll have to forgive me for a moment. Oh, I need to go to bed. This is called The High King's Son. Then Finn said he would send a challenge himself to Dáire Donn, the king of the great world. Paul Campbell is in the house from Galway. Hello, Paul. Good evening to you, Trenonoa. But Coilcha asked leave to do that day's fighting himself. And Finn said he would agree to that if he could find enough of men to go with him. And he himself gave him 100 men, and Oisin did the same, and so on with the rest. And he gave out his challenge, and it was the son of the king of the great plain that answered it. And while they were in the heat of the fight, a fleet of ships came into the harbour, and Finn thought they were come to help the foreigners. But Oisin looked at them and said, "It is seldom your knowledge fails you, Finn. But those are friends of our own, Fiacra, son of the king of the Fianna of the Bretons, and Dáire Donn, son of the king of Tuatha, with his own people." In other words, help has arrived. And when those that were in the ships came on shore, they saw Coilcha's banner going down before the king of the great plain. And they all went hurrying on to his help, and between them they made an end of the king's son and of all his people. "Who will keep watch tonight?" said Finn then. "We will," said the 9 Garavs of the Fianna, of Slieve Mish, of Slieve Cua, of Slieve Clare, of Slieve Crutch, of Slieve Mucke, that's the hill of the pig, and Slieve Fuad, and Slieve Ahamore, and Dun Sorka, and Dundalgan, Dundalgan being Dundalk, not too far north of us here in County Louth. Patricia McAteer would be the closest of the two are watching to Dundalgan. And they were not long watching till they saw the king of the men of Dragon coming towards them, and they fought a fierce battle. And at the end of the night they were left standing. And at the end of the night there were left standing but 3 of the Garavs and the king of the men of Dragon. And they fought till their wits were gone from them. And those 4 fell together, soul against soul and lip against lip. And the king of the men of... Forgive me. And the fight went on from day to day, and from week to week, and there were great losses on both sides. And when Fergus of the Sweet Lips saw that so many of the Fianna were fallen, he asked no leave, but went to Tower of the Kings, that is Tara, of course, Tara of the Kings, where the High King of Ireland was, and he told him the way it was with Finn and his people. "That is good," said the High King, "Finn, to be in that strait. For there is no labouring man dares touch a pig or a deer or a salmon if he finds it dead before him on account of the Fianna. And there is no man but is in dread to go from one place to another without leave from Finn, or to take a wife till he knows if she has a sweetheart among the Fianna of Ireland. And it is often Finn has given bad judgments against us," he said, "and it would be better for us, the foreigners, to gain the day for himself." Then Fergus went out to the lawn where the High King's son was playing ball. "It is no good help you are giving to Ireland," said Fergus then, "to be playing a game without lasting profit, and strangers taking away your country from you." And he was urging him and blaming him, And great shame came upon the young man, and he threw away the stick and went through the people of Chower and brought together all the young men, 1,020 of them that were in it. 1,020, what an interesting figure. And they asked no leave and no advice from the High King, but they set out and went till they came to Ventry. By the way, that is quite a journey in pre-modern times, to walk from Tara in Meath to Ventry in County Kerry. And Fergus went to where Finn was, and told him the son of the High King of Ireland was come with him. And all the Fianna rose up before the young man and bade him welcome. And Finn said, "Young man," he said. Yes, it does say that. And Finn said, "Young man," he said. "Young man, we would sooner see you coming at a time when there would be musicians and singers and poets and high-up women to make pleasure for you, than at the time we are in the straits of battle the way we are now." "It is not for playing I am come," said the young man, "but to give you my service in battle." "I never brought a lad new to the work into the breast of battle," said Finn, "for it is often a lad coming like that finds his death, and I would not wish him to fall through me." "I give my word," said the young man, "I will do battle with them on my own account, if I may not do it on yours." Then Fergus of the Fair Lips went out to give a challenge of battle from the son of the High King of Ireland to the King of the World. "Who will answer the King of Ireland's son for me?" said the King of the World. "I will go against him," said Sligoch, King of the men of Cepda. Is that Kepta? And he went on shore, and his 3 red battalions with him. And the High King's son went against them, and his comrades were near him. And they were saying to him, "Take a good heart now into the fight, for the Fianna will be no better pleased if it goes well with you than if it goes well with the foreigner." And when the High King's son heard that, he made a rush through the army of the foreigners and began killing and overthrowing them, till their chief men were all made an end of. Then Sligoch, their king, came to meet him. Imagine their king is called Sligo. Very angry and destroying, and they struck at one another and made a great fight. But at the last, the King of Ireland's son got the upper hand, and he killed the king of the men of Kepta and struck off his head. Seems to be the way to finish things, even if they're dead. John Borland, will you please stop it? So forgive me, folks. I was being interrupted by sorry, give me one moment. I have to turn off my heater too. This is a person who was spamming the Mythical Ireland community earlier on with 10 posts in the space of a couple of hours, and is now asking me to explain why she was thrown out of the group. If you come on here to make trouble, you should know that you get short shrift from me. Sorry about that, folks. So there, the reason you were thrown out of the Mythical Ireland community was because you were spamming the group with about 10 or 12 posts in 2 hours, which is, by the way, if you've read the rules, is against the rules. So sorry about that. Have a nice day. Now, I've completely lost my place, but that's okay. We'll get back again. Yes. We'll go another chapter. We've time for at least one more, and this is called The King of Lochlan and His Sons. Yes, Yvette, that is a fair comment. Get a good old Irish boot up the backside. Yes. And given that the comment that she tried to make just there, she's also been given the boot from the main Mythical Ireland page. So you're welcome to go on other groups where maybe such behaviour is tolerated, but not this one, because we have a nice community of people, and we like to keep it that way. And the fighting went on from day to day, and at last Finn said to Fergus of the Sweet Lips, "Go out, Fergus, and see how many of the Fianna are left for the fight today." The fact that they keep sort of regenerating, finding hundreds of warriors and men from different parts, it would suggest that there's no end to them. And Fergus counted them and he said, "There is one battalion only of the Fianna left in good order, and there are some of the men in it," he said, "are able to fight against 3, and some that are able to fight against 9 or 30 or 100. "If that is so," said Finn, "rise up and go to where the King of the World is, and bid him to come out to the great battle." So Fergus went to the King of the World, and it is the way he was, on his bed, listening to the music of harps and pipes, as you do when there are pressing military matters at hand. "King of the World," said Fergus, "it is long you are in that sleep, and that is no shame for you," he said, "for it will be your last sleep. And the whole of the Fianna are gone out to their place of battle," he said, "and let you go out and answer them. In my opinion," said the King of the World, "there is not a man of them is able to fight against me. And how many are there left of the Fianna of Ireland?" "One battalion only that is in good order," said Fergus. "And how many of the armies of the world are there left?" he said. 30 battalions came with me to Ireland, and there are 20 of them fallen by the Fianna, and what is left of them is 10 red battalions in good order. And there are 8 good fighters on them," he said, "that would put down the men of the whole world if they were against me. That is, myself, and Conmail my son, and Ugarmach, the daughter of the King of Greece, that is the best hand in the battle of the whole world after myself, and Finnachta of the teeth." Doesn't say what kind of teeth. He's obviously got remarkable teeth. "The chief of my household, and the King of Lochlan, Cashel Clumach of the feathers, and his 3 sons, Tuatha and Forna of the broad shoulders, and Mongach of the sea." Presumably Mongach is not some sort of fish. He's obviously some sort of good warrior on a boat. "I swear by the oath of my people," said the King of Lochlan then, "if any man of the armies goes out against the Fianna before myself and my 3 sons, we will not go at all, for we would not get the satisfaction we are used to, unless our swords get their fill of blood." "I will go out against them alone," said Forna, the youngest son of the King of Lochlan. With that, he put on his battle suit. I was going to say wetsuit. He put on his battle suit, and he went among the Fianna of Ireland, and a red-edged sword in each of his hands. And he destroyed those of their young men that were sent against him, and he made the strand narrow with their bodies. And Finn saw that, and it was torment to his heart, and danger of death and loss of wits to him, and he was encouraging the men of Ireland against Forn. And Fergus of the True Lips stood up, and it is what he said. Cue rousing speech. "Fianna of Ireland," he said, "it is a pity the way you are under hardship, and you defending Ireland. And one man is taking her from you today," he said. "And you are like no other thing but a flock of little birds looking for shelter in a bush from a hawk that is after them." Interesting metaphor. "And it is going into the shelter of Finn and Oisin and Coilcha you are," he said, "and not one of you is better than another, and none of you sets his face against the foreigner." "By my oath," said Oisin, "all that is true, and no one of us tries to do better than another, keeping him off." "There is not one of you is better than another," said Fergus. Then Oisin gave out a great shout against the King of Lochlan's son. "Stop here with me, King's son," he said, "until I fight with you for the Fianna. I give my word, it is short the delay will be," said Forna. Then he himself and Oisin made an attack on one another, and it seemed for a while that the battle was going against Oisin. Oh, Jamie Davern is in the house in YouTube. Hello from Maine in the US. I think I lived in Ireland in a past life. Definitely descendants did. Hello, Jamie, and good evening to you. Owl's Perch is in Florida. I'm watching you from work. Well, I take it you're not an air traffic controller then. Owl's Perch, it's delightful to see you. You're welcome along, as it is to Jamie. Lil Frigg is in Scandinavia and is enjoying the reading. Thank you. Well, thanks, Lil. Pardon the interruption we had from the heckler, but she has now been booted out of the Mythical Ireland page as well as the Mythical Ireland community. Deep breath. By my word, man of poetry, said Finn then to Fergus of the true lips, it is a pity the way you sent my son against the foreigner. And rise up and praise him and hearten him now, he said. Seems to work a trick, doesn't it? So Fergus went down to where the fight was, and he said, there is great shame on the Fianna Oisin, seeing you so low in this fight. And there is many a foot messenger and many a horseman from the daughters of the kings and princes of Ireland looking at you now. Charlie Grover's in the house on Facebook. Hello, Charlie, he said. And great courage rose in Oisin then, and he drove his spear through the body of Fianna, the king of Lochlan's son, and he himself came back to the Fianna of Ireland. Then the armies of the world gave out a great cry, keening for now. I was reading a different word into it. And there was anger and not fear on his brothers, for they thought it no right thing he to have fallen by a man of the Fianna. And Tuatha, the second son of the king of Lochlan, went on shore to avenge his brother. And he went straight into the middle of the Fianna and gave his sword good feeding on their bodies till they broke away before him and made no stand till Louis's son turned round against them. He gave his sword good feeding on their bodies. Interesting terminology. And those two fought a great fight till their swords were bent and their spears crumbled away. And they lost their golden shields. And at last Louis's son made a stroke of his sword that cut through the foreigner's sword, and then he made another stroke that cut his heart in two halves. And he came back high and proud to the Fianna. Then the third son of the king of Lochlan, Mongach of the sea, rose up, and all the armies rose up along with him. Stop here, men of the world, he said, for it is not you but myself that has to go and ask satisfaction for the bodies of my brothers. So he went on shore, and it is the way he was, with a strong iron flail in his hand, having 7 balls of pure iron on it, and 50 iron chains, and 50 apples on every chain, and 50 deadly thorns on every apple. That is a complex weapon. And he made a rush through the Fianna to break them up entirely and to tear them into strings, and they gave way before him. And great shame came on Fidach, son of the king of the Bretons, and he said, come here and praise me, Fergus of the true lips, till I go out and fight with the foreigner. It is easy to praise you, son, said Fergus, and he was praising him for a long time. Then the two looked at one another and used fierce, proud words. And then Mongach of the sea raised his iron flail and made a great blow. It actually says, maybe that's a misprint. Unusual in fairness, the typesetting and proofreading is pretty good. It says, and made a great below at the king of the Breton's son. I presume it's supposed to be blow. But he made a quick leap to one side and gave him a blow of his sword that cut off his 2 hands at the joint. And he did not stop at that, but made a blow at his middle that cut him into 2 halves. Some of these warriors, it seems, are skilled in butchery too. But as he fell, I wonder what they're like with a loin of pork. I apologise. I'm being flippant. But as he fell, apples and pork. See what's happening here. I just stick with the text. But as he fell, an apple of the flail with its deadly thorns went into Fidach's comely mouth and through his brain, and it was foot to foot, those two fell, and lip to lip. Seems to be a common a common occurrence in this tale, where two enemies fall soul to soul or foot to foot and lip to lip. And the next that came to fight on the strand was the king of Lochlan himself, Cashel of the Feathers. And he came to the battle having his shield on his arm, and it is the way the shield was, that was made for him by the smith of the Fomor. There were red flames coming from it, and if it was put under the sea itself, not one of its flames would stop blazing. And when he had that shield on his arm, no man could come near him. And there was never such destruction done on the men of Ireland as on that day. For the flames of fire that he sent from his shield went through the bodies of men till they blazed up like a splinter of oak that was after hanging through the length of a year in the smoke of a chimney. And anyone that would touch the man that was burning would catch fire himself. And every other harm that came into Ireland before was small beside this. Then Finn said, "Lift up your hands, Fianna of Ireland, and give 3 shouts of blessing to whoever will hinder this foreigner." And the Fianna gave those 3 shouts, and the king of Lochlan gave a great laugh when he heard them. And Drumjarug, grandson of the head of the Fianna of Ulster, was near him, and he had with him a deadly spear, the Crowjarug, the red-socketed, that came down from one to another of the sons of Rory. Even that Drumjarug means the red ridge, like a red hillock, a ridge, like a long hill. And he looked at the king of Lochlan, and he could see no part of him without armour, but his mouth that was opened wide, and he laughing at the Fianna. Then Drumjarug made a cast with the Crowjarug that hit him in the open mouth, and he fell, and his shield fell along with its master, and its flame went out. And Drumjarug struck the head from his body, and made great boasts of the things he had done. Have we time for one more? Have we time for one more 2-page chapter? It'll only take 5 minutes to read. Thanks, Daisy. I do apologise again for the slight interruption to service caused by a heckler. Lady was displeased at having been removed from the Mythical Ireland community for spamming the community, basically, and then decided to come on here and ask why she had been removed from the community. So, not in the middle of a live episode, I'm afraid. So I had to boot her out here too. So sorry about that. I'll read one more, will I? A short one. Sounds like a great storm with lightning, that shield. Yeah, you often wonder about, obviously, this is you're incredulous reading this. A lot of this is impossible. Single warriors cutting down hundreds of men and all this, that, and the other. And then you have to think about, the symbolism of it and the metaphor and what might be behind it. That idea of, your man being able to carry the hurl and the schlitter from the west to the east of the Strand is interesting. I'm always inclined to think in astronomical terms. Of course, the stars move from east to west in the opposite direction. Like in Island of the Setting Sun, I spoke about Setanta and the hurl and the schlitter being Orion, Anyway, one more, chapter 11, Lovren's journey. Well, Labron or Lovren, if it's lenited. We'll try Lovren, will we? And I think we'll just have enough then to last us to do the third episode. Oh, yeah, no, there's loads. Is there? No, there isn't. Yeah, the next one will be a bit shorter. Okay, anyway, I've started, so I'll finish. It is then Fergus of the True Lips set out again and went through the length of Ireland till he came to the house of Tig, son of Nuada, that was grandfather to Finn. And there was great grief on Murna, Finn's mother, and on Lovren of the Long Hand, her brother, and on all her people, when they knew the great danger he was in. And Tig asked his wife, who did she think would escape with their lives from the great fighting at the White Strand? "It is a pity the way they are there," said she, "for if all the living men of the world were on one side, Dáire Donn, king of the world, would put them all down. For there are no weapons in the world that will ever be reddened on him. And on the night he was born, the smith of the Fomor made a shield and a sword, and it is in the prophecy that he will fall by no other arms but those." Tom King can shed some light on this for us. Is it possible to make these special weapons that will kill a person who can otherwise not be put down? "And it is to the king of the country of the fair men he gave them to keep, and it is with him they are now." "If that is so," said Tig, "you might be able to get help for Finn, son of Cool, the only son of your daughter. And bid Lovren Lovfada to go and ask those weapons of him." That's interesting because his epithet is Lovfada, meaning long hand, which is the same epithet as Lou Lovfada. Yes, ArchDB is making a very good point. Some circumpolar stars come back round from west to east along the horizon, like the stars of Cygnus back then. Yes, forgive me for not immediately realizing that. Margaret says, "There you go, Tom, a bit of homework for you." "And bid Lovren Lovfada to go and ask those weapons of him," he said. "Do not be asking me," said she, "to go against Dáire Donn that was brought up in my father's house." But after they talked for a while, they went out on the lawn, and they sent Lovren looking for the weapons in the shape of a great eagle. And he went on from sea to sea, till at noon on the morrow he came to the dun of the king of the country of the fair men. And he went in his own shape to the dun and saluted the king. And the king bade him welcome and asked him to stop with him for a while. "There is a thing I want more than that," said Lovren. "For the wife of a champion of the Fianna has given me her love, and I cannot get her without fighting for her. And it is the loan of that sword and that shield you have in your keeping I am come asking for now," he said. There were 7 rooms now in the king's house that opened into one another. And on the first door was 1 lock, and on the second 2 locks, and so on to the door of the last room that had 7 locks. And it was in that the sword and the shield that were made by the smith of the Fomor were kept. And they were brought out and were given to Lovren. And stalks of luck were put with them, and they were bound together with shield straps. Then Lovren of the long hand went back across the seas again, and he reached his father's dun between the crowing of the cock and the full light of day, and the weakness of death came on him. "It is a good message you are after doing, my son," said Tig, "and no one ever went that far in so short a time as yourself." "It is little profit that is to me," said Lovren, "for I am not able to bring them to Finn in time for the fight tomorrow." Barbara says, "Only if you're a blacksmith of the F-word group." Yes, indeed. I suspect our Tom could work some magic in that forge of his. I really do. But just at that time, one of Tig's people saw Aed, son of Avon, that was as quick as the wind over a plain till the middle of every day, and after that there was no man quicker than he was. "You are come at a good time," said Tig, and with that he gave him the sword and the shield to bring to Finn for the battle. So Aed, son of Avon, went with the swiftness of a hare or of a fawn or of a swallow, till at the rising of the day on the morrow he came to the White Strand. And just at that time Fergus of the True Lips was rousing up the Fianna for the great fight, and it is what he said. "Fianna of Ireland," he said, "if there was the length of 7 days in one day, you would have work to fill now, for there never was and there never will be done in Ireland a day's work like the work of today." Then the Fianna of Ireland rose up, and they saw Aed, son of Avon, coming towards them with his quick running, and Finn asked news from him. "It is from the dun of Tig, son of Nuadu, I am come," he said, "and it is to yourself I am sent to ask how it is you did not redden your weapons yet upon the king of the world." "I swear by the oath of my people," said Finn, "if I do not redden my weapons on him, I will crush his body within his armour." "I have here for you, king of the Fianna," said Aed then, though the deadly weapons that will bring him to his death. And it was Lovren of the Long Hand got them for you through his druid arts. He put them in Finn's hand then, and Finn took the coverings off them, and there rose from them flashes of fire and deadly bubbles. And not one of the Fianna could stay looking at them, but it put great courage into them to know they were with Finn. Rise up now, said Finn to Fergus of the True Lips, and go where the king of the world is, and bid him to come out of the place. And bid him to come out to the place of the great fight. And that leaves us with just enough, I suspect, to make it. I perhaps should have kept that little chapter for next week, because next week's will be shorter. Anyway, not to worry. Not to worry. There's tons of Finn cycle material still to go in any case. Yes, Barbara is saying none of us would go against Tom's work because we know we would all stop to admire it and be struck down. Correct. Yes. Struck down in other ways, not in the physical way. Hang on a second while I'm perusing the if there are any comments or questions, as I'm always glad to receive. If I can find this little quote that I was talking about earlier, about Jung and his comment on myth. It was in a section, I think. It was in his chapter about life after death. Oh, there's one. I apologize. I'm being thoroughly distracted by C.G. Jung. Here we go. It's a very, very short sentence. Jung says myths are the earliest form of science, is actually what he says. I suppose it would be better if I put it into context, the wider context of the chapter about life after death. And he doesn't draw any firm conclusions about it, but he had made several observations during his long life. And I just thought there were several passages that were just, I'll put that one into context. When one has such experiences, and I will tell of others like them, one acquires a certain respect for the potentialities and arts of the unconscious. Only one must remain critical and be aware that such communications may have a subjective meaning as well. They may be in accord with reality, and then again they may not. I have, however, learned that the views I've been able to form on the basis of such hints from the unconscious have been most rewarding. Naturally, I'm not going to write a book of revelations about them, but I will acknowledge that I have a myth which encourages me to look deeper into this whole realm. Myths are the earliest form of science. When I speak of things after death, I am speaking out of inner prompting and can go no farther than to tell you dreams and myths that relate to this subject. Just read a couple more, just short snippets to put you in the picture. Stuff that I have marked. Well, that's more, Jung. That seems to be man's metaphysical task, which he cannot accomplish without mythologizing. Myth is the natural and indispensable intermediate stage between unconscious and conscious cognition. True, the unconscious knows more than consciousness does, but it is knowledge of a special sort, knowledge in eternity, usually without reference to the here and now, not couched in language of the intellect. Only when we let its statements amplify themselves, as has been shown above by the example of numerals, does it come within the range of our understanding. Only then does a new aspect become perceptible to us. It seems that what Jung was suggesting was that myth was a sort of a mediator between the conscious and the unconscious. But he had some very interesting things to say about life after death. He was even suggesting that, there is no intellectual growth after death, and that's why it seemed that people who had died and gone over, as it were so keen to learn from people who are still alive about such things. Naturally, I do not count the relatively numerous testimonies here in the West to the belief in reincarnation. A belief proves to me only the phenomenon of belief, not the content of the belief. This I must see revealed empirically in order to accept it. And he even goes into Buddhism and the whole idea of reincarnation. Anyway, that's from Memories, Dreams and Reflections by C.G. Jung. Perhaps we will do an episode. Oh, there's more than one episode to be done on C.G. Jung, I think, in relation to mythology. Anyway, so looking forward to watching the book talk on the Cailleach, says Aaron Durrett. Thank you for the wonderful storytelling, Anthony. So great to be here with our wonderful group of friends. Yes, indeed. And it's always a pleasure to have you along, Aaron. Philip O'Hea says, amazing show. Thanks, Philip. Always a wonderful night amongst friends, says Brendan. Hope we can have a special Christmas edition. What a splendid idea. Yes, a splendid idea. Let me think about that. We'll have to do something special for Christmas. Definitely. Anyway, again, apologies for the interruption to service by the heckler. But, when somebody is determined only to cause a fuss and is not actually here for constructive enjoyment, the best thing to do is just call security and say, listen, the lady in the middle there, just politely sort of tell her that she has to go. In the meantime, we have to do another book talk. I'm not going to do one tomorrow because tomorrow is the premiere of the podcast 12. So that's something to look forward to and set your calendars and clocks for tomorrow. 7 p.m. Irish time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's 11 a.m. on the West Coast. If you're planning to watch that, it's less than 20 minutes. It's not going to be a long thing. It's sitting there ready to go as a YouTube premiere. That's tomorrow night. Maybe Wednesday night. We'll do another book talk. I'm looking around at the books as if to say, what will I do? I only have 800 and something choices. In the meantime, Michelle Rhodes says, so engrossed was I nearly forgot to take my medicine. Michelle, do not do that. One of the things that we want everybody to do is to stay safe and well. And of course, one of the ways you can do that, I demonstrate. Yes. So I got a wonderful hamper from my employer today as a sort of a thank you gift for, all the work during the year. Everybody got one, which I think was lovely. Well, one of the things in the hamper was a face mask. And another thing in the hamper was a bottle of hand sanitizer. So somebody's asking, I do apologize. I just have to re-announce that just in case people weren't earlier on. Elena wants to know what podcast. Elena, Mythical Ireland podcast 12 asks the question, was Doubt a crematorium? It will premiere on the Mythical Ireland YouTube page, which is at youtube.com/Mythical Ireland tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Irish time. So if you're not already a member or a subscriber to the YouTube channel, the easiest and quickest way to get it is youtube.com/Mythical Ireland, which will redirect you to youtube.com/user/Mythical Ireland. Sorry, I shouldn't post that on the YouTube comments because people are already there, but I'll certainly post it as a comment. So maybe that's something for you tomorrow evening, and then perhaps Wednesday evening we will do a book talk. Yes, I think so. Anyway, in the meantime, keep sanitizing your hands, keep wearing face masks, social distancing, coughing and sneezing into the crook of your arm, look, just do your best to stay safe. All our best to Nick, who's recovering from COVID. And I think, as far as I know, that's certainly the first time any of the Tuatha has had COVID that we know of. So please keep yourself safe. Saoirse says, was Dowd a crematorium? I don't doubt it. And all our best wishes to the lady whose name escapes me right now, who had the ear infection. Make a speedy recovery. If you missed the episode, don't worry, you can watch back on Facebook and on YouTube. Mavanwe said, I've had COVID. Oh, right, okay. I hope you're feeling better. That's the main thing, because I know it can hit people hard, and then you can have this long, drawn out, slow burn COVID that sort of makes you feel miserable for months. Stay safe, everyone, because look, you don't want to get sick and you don't want to take the risk. I shouldn't smile, but I just know there will be people who'll jump on this. I've got the YouTube comments a day afterwards. At the end of one of the episodes, I was talking about, don't forget to wear a mask. And somebody angrily made a comment on YouTube the next day saying, masks, propaganda, this fake news, this, that, and the other. And look, you're entitled to believe what you want to believe, but I base mine on what the scientists are telling us. And I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to put myself or my family in danger. And I think that most of the Tuatha, certainly most of the regulars, are sensible enough in these matters. Just behave like adults, that's all you have to do. It's not that difficult to wear a mask when you're in a crowded place, not asking you to to go around half naked with funny underwear on. We're not asking you to dress up as Barney the dinosaur. We're just asking you to put a mask over your mouth. Yes, I base mine on symptoms, said Movanwe. Yeah, absolutely. So you can always watch a recording, as Facebook live recordings are easily accessible. Yes, indeed, Paul. Facebook and YouTube are generally available immediately afterwards. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I've prattled on for far too long now at this stage. Must go. And see you tomorrow on... I'll be commenting if you're watching the podcast. Well, it's not... Sorry, you'll be listening. It's not a video as such. But if you're there and you're commenting, I'll probably be there commenting. So I'll be there on you as well. Well, there goes my Barney suit, says Snapper Earl. You're super de-duper. And in the meantime, if we don't see you then, we might see you Wednesday or Thursday for book talk. But don't forget, I will announce the book talk in advance, probably in the morning of the day or at noontime Irish time, just to give you plenty of notice. Anyway, as I always say, Slán go fóill, bye for now. Ichawa, good night or good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Culasov, sound sleep. August. Darren, I was going to wear my undies on the outside for the Christmas party, says Aaron. Well, I just said we wouldn't make you do it. I didn't say you can't do it, but it's not that difficult to wear a mask. Anyway, Toga Bugay, take it easy. Good night, YouTubers.